Welcome back to The Heat. We're discussing the recent operation in Ramadi where Iraqi security forces managed to reclaim the city from Islamic State fighters. Joining us now from Baghdad is Dr. Mowaffak al-Rubaie. He served as the Iraqi National Security Advisor and is currently a member of the Iraqi Parliament. Also with us from Erbil is Hiwa Osman. He's an Iraqi Kurdish journalist and commentator. Thanks to both of you for joining us. Dr. al-Rubaie, what do you make of the capture of the city of Ramadi from Islamic State fighters? Is this the beginning of a major new campaign by the Iraqi government to take control of all of Iraq, including those major cities of Mosul and Fallujah?
I believe it is a very significant step forward. It is a paradigm shift from the last few months we were on the defensive. And they were attacking us. Now we turned the table against them, and now we are on the offense, and they are defending. And I believe this is a paradigm shift from the old routine, if you like. Now, the significance of this is that the Iraqi security forces' morale now is sky high, because they have scored a huge, major victory in retaking the city of Ramadi, which they lost last year, in May last year. Now, I believe the Iraqi security forces, when they have retaken this city, it took them longer than we expected, but not because we were trying to avoid civilian casualties. I think the outcome of this is going to be forward to liberate the rest of the upper Euphrates Valley up to the Syrian borders. So it is very significant. The Iraqi security forces managed to do this on their own. Three or four different types of Iraqi security forces: counterterrorism, the Iraqi army, the federal police, and special operation, along with the coalition forces from the sky. I think they managed to score a very huge victory, and this is going to be, and we can see the morale of the other side of Daesh, of the ISIS, is very low now.
Right now, the challenge, Dr. al-Rubaie, for Iraq will be to hold this city of Ramadi. Iraqi government officials say they will be handing over security to Sunni militias. Why not the National Army? Why doesn't the National Army take control of the city?
We're not going to hand over to the Sunni militias. We're going to hand over to the local tribal fighters who have taken part in the liberation of the city of Ramadi, along with the Iraqi army. The Iraqi army will go forward and will consolidate and will hand over the city to those fighters, tribal fighters, the Sunni courageous fighters who have taken active part in the liberation of the city, along with the federal police, of course. And the army will move forward, will move on to liberate another villages and another village or another city down the line.
Okay. Hiwa, from a military point of view, from a security point of view for Iraq, what is the significance of this government victory in Ramadi?
It is a step in the right direction for Iraq to regain all the territories, but military and security victory alone will not last. It has to be coupled with a strong political vision for the day after ISIS. If we go back to the root causes or the initial circumstances that allowed a group like ISIS to emerge and control these big areas and territories, they will have to be addressed in this time, now that the Iraqi army has done its bit with the support of the Popular Mobilization Force, the mostly Shiite forces. And in other areas, for example, in the north, there are the Peshmerga forces that are fighting against ISIS. But all of that can only do so much in the fight against ISIS. The key to the fight against ISIS is to have a political vision for the day after ISIS in these areas, and have a system whereby the people from the areas feel that they own these areas, that they own the process, that they own the politics, and that can be translated into a security structure, local indigenous security structure that is trusted by Baghdad and is given its deserved space in the political process. And as a result, I think this will be the best way to control or to keep these areas under government control.
Dr. al-Rubaie, does the Iraqi government have a comprehensive plan, including a political vision, as Hiwa points out, to secure the country, to bring Sunnis into the main fold, to bring them into political decision-making in Iraq?
I agree with your guest, and I believe the political inclusion has already started, and I don't think the political inclusion is now is the priority. The priority is to score a decisive victory, a long-lasting victory, a crashing victory on Daesh, and get rid of them outside the country. That is the most important things now. Now, the second important thing is the civil military activities in the city, because it's 90% of the city is now destroyed. There are no hospitals, no clinics, no schools, no government building, nothing, absolutely nothing. Even the private houses have been ruined by Daesh, and also by bombing from air. Because this is in Ramadi, the coalition led by the US is the first time ever they used B-52 to create a safety corridor within the booby trap, within the mines in the city, and for the counter-terrorism forces to get into the city. So I believe number one is also immediately the day after Daesh in the city the priority is to create the services, to install a local government from the local people, those fighters who have taken part in liberating the city. And number three is to try to return or rehouse the internally displaced persons from Baghdad and from other cities, the people who are unburied people who have been displaced by Daesh to the other places, bring them back and rehouse them, create some services, inject some cash in the local economy to create employment inside the city. So there is a lot to be done by the government, and the political inclusion certainly is important, and the handing over the security of the city to the local people to those who have vested interest in defending the city. This is extremely important. But let's see what is the priorities. The priorities is a major blow on Daesh. It's a huge demoralizing effect of this defeat of Daesh in Ramadi, and we need to capitalize on this and move forward and achieve a decisive victory on Daesh in Iraq.
Okay. Hiwa, those are pretty ambitious plans that Dr. al-Rubaie talks about there. And you say you are not very optimistic that there is that political vision that will bring Sunni and Shia together in Iraq. In fact, what you say is borne out by a study which was done by a group called Mercy Corps International, that's a United States group, which found that the main driver of violence in Iraq is continued Sunni grievances against the central government. Now, do you believe those grievances can be addressed within a unitary state in Iraq, or will there be a partition? One part for Kurds, one part for Sunnis, one part for Shias?
Well, I think even if we had a partition in Iraq, the relationship between the various peoples of those three states, for example, it has to remain a normal one or a good relationship. The key thing in the key challenge, I think, for today's government and for the politicians today in the political process is that none of them, they do not seem to agree on one vision for the day of reconciliation. You know, we speak a lot, we hear a lot of talk about national reconciliation, we hear a lot of talk about Sunni inclusion in the political process, but at the same time, we do not have, because the law has not been passed yet that addresses all of these issues, that lays out how national reconciliation in the country can be achieved, and where does all of the outstanding issues between the various groups stand in terms of its political, in terms of the roadmap. Today in Iraq, the Sunnis have their own version for National Reconciliation Day. The Shiites have their own version for National Reconciliation Day. And as a result, I think it does not seem to be a unified roadmap that guides the political process for achieving that normal relationship between Shiites and Sunnis. On the other hand as well, having or not having the right representatives of the Sunni population has caused, as a result of this, basically, not having the right representatives of the Sunni population of Iraq, or the representatives of the Sunni population of Iraq, has caused the gap that was filled afterwards by the likes of ISIS. If this is not addressed this time round, today's military victory will only become a day, yet another normal day of the history of the country, and it will only be a matter of time for it to come back, for us to come back to the days of ISIS or others controlling the areas away from the central government.
Okay, Dr. al-Rubaie, is there the national will for national reconciliation in Iraq? It hasn't been there up to now.
I agree with your guest that there is no unified vision since 2003 to move to build a new modern Iraq, modern, strong, unified Iraq, and to get a grand deal between the three communities. But what I would like to draw your attention to and your audience to is some of these studies and polls done by remote control from Washington, D.C. They're so wrong, so ridiculous, to be quite honest with you. The root of the problem is not only sectarian. Probably the sectarian issue plays a very small, minor issue. There are people in 2003 lost the power, lost money, lost status, and that's why they are fighting. There are no Shia and Sunnis in Libya. 9/11 is not done by the Shia versus Sunnis. And Paris bombing was not done by the Shia versus Sunnis. And Syria as well, Somalia and Pakistan and Afghanistan and Taliban and Al-Qaeda and Al-Nusra. This is not a Shia versus Sunni. This is the etiology, the root cause of the problem is the ideology. This is an ideological threat. This is an ideological challenge.
Okay, we're going to have to leave it there. Hiwa Osman, Dr. Mowaffak al-Rubaie, thanks to both of you for joining us.